What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Everybody else, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm going to talk about the case that happened back on April 5th in Dallas, Texas, the downtown area, when Ashlee Long was shot and killed in the downtown area at about 2:30 in the morning after an incident when Kendrick Finch, who has been charged in her killing with murder, got out of the car and was in basically a gun battle in downtown Texas with a man named William Kessler. Um, Finch has been released on $500,000 bail as of last Tuesday. He was being held on $500,000 bail, claiming it was a self-defense case. They asked for a bail reduction. That bail reduction was rejected by the judge, but he posted the $500,000 bail and has been released. He is back out on the street. We're going to get into this case a little bit. I just did hours and hours of studying the case, of listening to the district attorney's argument, listening to the defense attorney's argument, and I will give you my opinion, and I will give you some facts on the case as well. And I will clearly state which is my opinion, and what are facts. When someone claims self-defense, every case is different. As I always tell you, every case is different. Let me give you a little idea of where my perspective comes from, so you understand. Um, Myself, I was incarcerated in prison for 17 years for the charge of manslaughter. I was charged with murder in the second degree. I would plead guilty to the charge of manslaughter in the first degree. I would receive 12 and a half to 25 years in New York State prison, and I would serve every day of that. um, so I went through hearings regarding murder and manslaughter. I was also stabbed twice, first in my incident. So I know a lot about the self-defense argument. And self-defense is not as easy as people think, as you should know. We'll get into that as well. So I filed appeals on my own case. I helped others file appeals while I was incarcerated. I studied the law for many, many years. So I have some good insight into the way the law works. I was also arrested in the state of Texas, where this case transpired. And so I have that outlook from that perspective. And I also have the perspective from my family. Um, if you see some of the pictures that are behind me, those are mostly of my grandfather. My grandfather, who was a police commissioner and retired and went into Washington, D.C. to protect Robert Kennedy in the United States Secret Service. There's pictures of me behind me, him with Robert Kennedy. Pictures of my grandfather with the governor of New York. Pictures of my grandfather with district attorneys. And I would sit down and discuss the law with him all the time. My grandfather didn't pass away until I was 33 years old. And my father was a lieutenant for 20 years, worked as a detective, worked in homicide, worked as undercover, and also spent many years in Afghanistan as a civilian. And I've had many discussions with him about the law. So my outlook and perspective is really dealing with a lot of fact. I know how to look at facts and how important facts are, especially when it comes to the criminal justice system. But then I will also give you my opinion. So this case took place in the downtown district of Texas, and it happened on April 5th, 2025. So a little over a month ago. And what had basically happened was a man named William Kistler, who is a two-time felon, convicted felon, was out on the street harassing people. This is on video. It's all on video. He was yelling in the street. He was drunk, intoxicated. They're still waiting on the toxology report. He was picking fights with people. The video shows him arguing with a group of people in front of like a bar, and he crossed the street to go confront them. And Ashlee Long was trying to hold him back and push him back several different times because he just looked like he was a drunk guy out to cause trouble. You know, that's not what it looked like. That's what he was. He was an intoxicated person at 2:30 in the morning looking to start trouble with people. He was starting trouble with people. He was arguing people. He was yelling at people. The girl that he was with, Ashlee Long, I believe, real estate agent, uh, trying to keep him calm and hold him back. They eventually cross the street, and as they're crossing the street, William Kessler hits a Mercedes Benz that is driving past. The Mercedes Benz was just a car that was driving on the road, not doing anything wrong. And you see on the video that he hits the car as it's passing, and the driver of the car obviously did not like his car being hit, and he comes to a full stop, all on video. This is all on video. I've watched the video several times. And when the Mercedes Benz comes to a stop, the passenger, oh, I should say this because this is very important, and this is what it's going to come down to in the court of law, because every second is going to be broken down second by second. That's what they're going to do. So when the car comes to a stop, the William Kessler, the intoxicated man, has a firearm in Ashlee Long's purse. Ashlee Long is holding the gun of William Kessler, and William Kessler starts grabbing her so he can get to the gun inside of the purse. And this is going on for about 5 or 6 seconds before Kendrick Finch exits the passenger door of the white Mercedes, because he wasn't driving. He was the passenger of the car that was struck. And when he gets out of the car, he gets out of the car with a gun in his right hand. And Kendrick and William Kessler, the intoxicated man, has also pulled the gun out of the purse of Ashlee Long. And they are about to get into a gunfight in the middle of the street when Kendrick Finch sees that Kessler is armed. He goes to take cover behind a white Mercedes, and he fires the shots. And he fires 8 shots. 2 of the shots hit Ashlee Long, who later dies at the hospital, and William Kessler is also struck and shot and taken to the hospital. And so obviously Finch, the driver of the Mercedes, is claiming self-defense because William Kessler was armed. This incident right here happens and unfolds in a matter of seconds. And so the question is going to be, in the court of law, I'll give you my opinion in a minute. The question is going to be in the court of law is, did Kendrick Finch, who fired the first shot and fired the shots, did he fire too fast? Was he justified in firing his gun? Should the driver just have kept driving? So we'll start with that. Should the driver of the Mercedes-Benz have a responsibility to keep driving? And did he instigate this incident by stopping when he could have kept driving? The answer to that, legally, and in my opinion, is no. He has no obligation to keep driving. Somebody hit his car, okay? Somebody hit his property unjustly. He has a right to stop that car. We're talking about the eyes of the law right now. In court, when his car was struck by Kessler, whatever you want to call him, Kessler, when his car was struck by Kistler, did he have an obligation to keep going? No, he actually has an obligation to stop because his car was assaulted. His car was struck. His property was struck. His property was assaulted. He has a right to stop the vehicle. He also has a right to exit that vehicle to find out why this person possibly damaged the vehicle. What's funny is in the court, the officer kept saying he brushed his vehicle, he touched his vehicle. The officer was a detective that was on the stand in the bail hearing, was really trying to take the side of Kistler. Saying, "Oh, he just touched the car. He smacked the car when it went past." Right? I'm going to give you my opinion shortly. So anyway, he stops the car. He has a right to stop the car. And the guy gets out with a gun, right? Finch gets out with a gun. And but it took him 6 seconds to get out. This is where there's going to be some controversy. But for those 6 seconds before he got out of the car, Kistler was already fighting with the girl to get the gun out of the bag, and he gets the gun out of the bag, and that's when when Finch gets out of the car, he sees they got a gun, and boom, 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 boom. The problem is they're going to say that he was reckless in his shooting, where he shot the female. He shot it. This isn't justice for Ashlee Long. Ashlee Long is an innocent victim for a jerk off guy that she was hanging out with. Okay? So this incident wasn't created. This is important too. This incident wasn't created by Kendrick Finch. Kendrick Finch is the one that shot and killed Ashlee Long. This incident was not created. It was not started. It was not instigated. It did not occur because of Kendrick Finch. It occurred and started and was instigated by the intoxicated person at 2:30 in the morning who was trying to start fights with everybody, who was picking fights with anyone, who smacked a car that didn't belong to him in the middle of the street, William Kistler. That's who started this incident. That's who instigated everything. Now, I'm not saying that in response to him hitting a car, Finch should open fire. He didn't open fire in response to the guy hitting the car. He opened fire because he saw that Kistler was armed when he got out of the car. Right? So does this constitute self-defense? This is going to be a hard battle in the court. It's going to be a hard battle in the court. Kendrick Finch has been charged with murder, but he had a legal gun. The gun that he carried was legal, not an illegal gun. So you got a guy that comes to a stop because his car was smacked. He gets out of the car with a legal gun and gets into this shootout. One thing that will hurt him a little bit is that he did call 911. He did call 911, but he didn't stay at the scene. Not staying at the scene is not good. But, you panic in those things. Just because you didn't stay at the scene doesn't mean that you're guilty, right? When you shoot someone, you freak out, you panic. And you're not thinking straight. The adrenaline is going crazy. You just shoot out. I'd want to take off too, but when you consider it self-defense, you're really supposed to stick around. He didn't turn himself in for 10 days, but he did turn himself in. He did turn himself in. The other individual that got shot, William Kistler, he had an illegal gun. Okay? He's a 2-time convicted felon. And Ashlee Long shouldn't have been holding a gun for him either. That's probably a crime as well, to hold a gun for an illegal felon. She got the gun in her purse. The gun's not registered to her. So it's not her gun. And she's holding the gun for a person who's not allowed to possess a gun. He's a 2-time felon, right? And she's not supposed to be holding that gun for him. And so in essence, she was guilty of committing a crime as well by harboring a gun for a two-time convicted felon. And they had that gun inside of an establishment, inside of a bar, before they ended up on the street, right? So this isn't about. I saw a post online, justice for Ashlee, Justin for. I feel bad. This girl got killed. Beautiful young girl. But this is what happens when you hang out with a complete jerk off who's drunk at 2:30 in the morning and think he's a tough guy. The detective who was testifying really refused to admit that this guy had some justification in a self-defense case. The detective that was testifying in front of the judge was really not on this guy's side at all for justifying him firing the shots that killed Ashlee. So it's going to be a hard self-defense case. But the lawyer that Kendrick Finch has, this lawyer is no joke. His name is Josh Healy, and Josh Healy has been around for a long time. I researched this guy. He was an assistant district attorney for many years. He's handled over 30 murder cases. He's handled over 6 death penalty cases, capital murder cases. He's handled tons of serious assaults and home invasions and robberies and burglaries. And he's taught district attorneys in the past. After 20 years of serving as a criminal defense attorney, he's one of the most successful lawyers in the Dallas area. His name is Josh Healy, and he is one of the top attorneys. He's considered one of the top attorneys in the Dallas area. So Kendrick Finch has a really, really good criminal defense attorney that is going to try and put forth or argue a self-defense claim. Kendrick Finch, the shooter, does have a limited, or I should say small, criminal record. He was busted for felony possession of marijuana. I believe it was like in 2014. He was given probation. It was dropped to a misdemeanor. He was given probation. While he was on probation, he violated that probation with another small marijuana charge. He is not a convicted felon. That's why he was carrying a gun legally, because he was never convicted of a felony. He works 6 days a week as a barber. He lives with his girlfriend on his own. You know, I'm not saying the kid was an angel. Looks like he was a little bit of a street guy. You know, weed possession is nothing. You know what I mean? It's really nothing. So what, he got caught with weed before. I believe he also did have a burglary on his charge, or habitation, illegal habitation charge, but that charge was dismissed, can't be used against him. He was not a convicted felon. He was carrying the gun legally. He did have the other guy with the illegal gun was a two-time convicted felon. William Kistler was a two-time convicted felon. He got out of the car though. When he got out of the car and he started shooting, he shot 8 times. You know, they could reckless use of a firearm is going to come into play. You know, he's going to say he was scared for his life, that this Kistler had a weapon. He pulled the weapon out of the girl's bag. He saw the weapon. You know what I mean? But he got out of the car with his gun. This is going to be the argument. You know what I mean? And things, like I said, things happen really fast. So, you know, they're going to argue that he got out of the car with the gun before he even saw that William Kistler had a gun. He already got out of the car with a gun, and it wasn't necessary for him to get out of the car with a gun. But maybe he'll say, I saw him reaching for something, so I got out of the car with the gun. You know what I mean? Or I got out of the car with the gun just to have protection for myself. And, you know, and then he had a gun, so I needed to open fire because I felt in danger of my life. I thought he was going to start shooting at me. You know what I mean? And so this is the argument that's going to take place back and forth. You know, my personal opinion on the case. Well, before that, Before that, let's get to the judge that's handling the case. The judge that's handling the case is the only Republican judge in the district, and Jennifer Baldo. Okay, she she's been on the bench a long time. She lost an election about 6, 7 years ago. Then she ran for judge. She got appointed as the criminal judge again, first district. As I said, she's one of the only Republican judges in that district. Republican judges are usually very tough. You saw that in the bail hearing where she refused to lower the bail. You know, and so he's got a hard way to go with him in front of this judge if she's going to end up being the trial judge. My personal opinion. I need to take a sip of coffee before I give this to you. My personal opinion is that Kistler, as I said, instigated this. Kistler was intoxicated in the street, throwing his arms up, trying to fight with people, yelling at people across the street, charging across the street, arguing. The girl's trying to hold him back. She's trying to push him back. Now he's crossing the street. There's a car passing by. He smacks the car. The car comes to a stop. If somebody smacked my car, I'm coming to a stop too. Yep. Maybe not these days. Maybe not these days because I'm a 50-something-year-old man now. And, I did a lot of time in prison. And so I'm intelligent enough to know where situations can go and how quickly they can spiral out of control. And if there was no damage to my car, I would probably just keep driving. That's me. But I'm an older guy already who's been through a lot. And I know where things can, as I said, spiral out of control. But when I was their age and someone hits my car, I'm getting out of the car. And if I didn't have a gun, I'm getting out of the car with a baseball bat. I'm getting out of the car with a crowbar when I'm 22 years old, 24 years old, because you're not hitting my car for no reason. And if you hit my car for no reason, I might get out of the car and crack your head open. Right? And so what happened was Kistler smacked the car of the wrong person that night. He screwed with the wrong person. You want to go out in the street and mess with people? You might mess with the wrong person. And Kistler messed with the wrong person and got Ashlee Long killed because he wanted to be a dick out in society. That's my opinion. Because this whole thing never happens. All the circumstances, the entire situation never happens. Ashlee Long is alive and well today and with her family and back at work if William Kistler isn't acting like an idiot in society. And this is why alcohol is one of the most dangerous drugs in the world. We're not going to get into that right now, but it's one of the most dangerous drugs in the world because it causes people to act in a way that they don't normally act. It causes people to be violent. It causes people to do things stupid. And when you're out at 2:30 in the morning under the influence of drugs and alcohol, shit happens. And William Kistler made it happen. So he smacked someone's car. The guy got out of the car with a pistol. Like, yo, what are you doing? He sees this guy, pulls out his own pistol, and boom, boom, boom. That's it. Now, this guy's got to say that it was self-defense because he saw this guy get out, because he saw this guy had a gun as well. My opinion on what's going to happen in the court of law, this is a hard one because there's still a lot of arguments going on. He probably has the attempted murder as well. I don't know if he had the attempted murder on Kistler because Kistler was shot too. He's charged with the murder of Ashlee Long, but he also shot him. Is he going to be found guilty of murder? I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I'm just a YouTube guy. I'm not the judge and jury. If this goes before a jury, they could offer him a plea bargain. But the plea bargain would be heavy in this case The plea bargain would probably be 10, 15, 20 years to accept the plea bargain, because if he goes to trial and he's found guilty, he'll get life for murder. So they could offer him a plea bargain of manslaughter, which could carry some time. If they offered him a plea bargain of 5 years, I would jump on it right away. If it was me, I'd take a plea bargain of 5 years. Even if I felt it was self-defense and I was justified in my self-defense, I wouldn't take a chance with a jury. I say, all right, I really believe that I fired in self-defense and I killed this person in self-defense. And I'm sorry that it happened, but I was defending myself. If you want to offer me 5 years, I'll take that 5 years just to play it safe. That would be me knowing how the criminal justice system works. If they offered me 10 to 15 years, I wouldn't take the 15. Not if I felt it was really self defense. Would I take the 10? I don't know. If I was young at his age, maybe I would take the 10 even. I know it's hard. It's hard to play, and Texas is a real serious state, But if he really feels it was honest self defense and he didn't do nothing wrong and he goes to trial, is he going to win? I can't tell you. Nobody knows what a jury is going to do. Nobody knows what a jury is going to do. The thing is, again, is that it's all caught on video. And the biggest argument is going to be in this case is these few seconds of him getting out of the car with a gun and this one going in the girl's pocketbook for a gun. And why did he get out of the car with a gun? Right? So let me play lawyer on both sides. If I was Ashlee Long, if I was the district attorney and I was defending Ashlee Long and going after Kendrick Finch to get him guilty of murder, I would say, yo, you got out of the car with a gun. Why'd you get out of the car with a gun? Because you didn't know that Kistler had a gun. You already got out ready to shoot. You already got out ready to fire, But he really didn't fire the gun until he took cover behind the parked car and he saw that the other guy had a gun. That's when he took fire. Once he felt like his life was threatened. So that's what it's going to be. And this lawyer is good. Remember, I told you that Kendrick Finch has a really good lawyer. But that's what's going on with this case right here. And I'm sure a lot of people in the comments are going to give your opinions. You're more than welcome to give your opinions. I'll try and answer every single one of them. But at this point, I feel that, do I feel it was self-defense? Give me 10 seconds to think about this in quiet. Do I feel that Kendrick Finch fired his gun in self-defense? I could say yes. I could say yes. That my opinion is I can believe that he felt like his life was in danger. I can believe that he felt that. When he saw that Kistler was armed, when he saw that William Kistler was armed, when he got out of the car. Why did he get out of the car with the gun? Well, we don't know. We'll have to hear that from him, right? We'll have to hear that from him. But that gun was legal, and he was allowed to carry it. And someone hit the car, and he stopped, and he could say he got out, and he had that gun in his right hand just to make sure that he was going to be okay. Or he can say that he saw the individual reaching in the girl's bag. But then if you saw him reaching in the girl's bag, why'd you get out of the car? They're going to be stopping the videotape frame by frame and second by second to show, did he have the gun out of the purse as he was lifting his gun? Was the gun still in the bag when he pulled his gun? Was he still right? This is what's going to come into play through the whole thing. And it's a second by second thing. So that's what's going on with the Ashlee Long case. I feel really sorry for that girl. She looked like a successful girl. She was on her way to do some good things, and unfortunately, she was hanging out with a guy that was drunk and looking for trouble, And so, you kids that are watching this, I want you to pay attention to this as I come to a close. You're outside in the street, you're in a bar, you're drinking. Don't pick fights with people. because you might pick a fight with the wrong person. Don't smack someone's property or damage someone's property because you might smack someone's property who's the wrong person. Don't start trouble with people because you might start trouble with the wrong person. You know, you never know who you're messing with in society. Okay. And a lot of you go out drinking and get drunk and you're doing stupid things as kids and you can make some bad mistakes. My grandfather used to say, nothing good happens after midnight. That was one of his sayings. The saying's been around for a while. Nothing good happens after midnight because hardworking people are usually home in bed. You know, nothing good happens after midnight. And this happened at about 2:30 in the morning. William Kistler carrying an illegal gun. Ashlee Long carrying an illegal gun for him. And they screwed with a person who wasn't tolerating it. Was he justified in sure? I'm sure he wasn't aiming for the woman. He was aiming for the guy. He fired a lot of shots. 8 shots is a lot of shots. But if someone has a gun and they're pulling a gun on me, I'm shooting like crazy too. Because I want to go home and I want to live. And then you say, well, he should have kept driving then. He didn't have an obligation to keep driving. He didn't have an obligation to keep driving. Someone hit the car. The driver was allowed to stop. I'm not sticking up for either side. But I gave you my opinion. And I gave you some facts. I'm going to wrap this up right now. So now you know what's going on with this case. I don't know when the next court date is yet. And I'll keep you posted and let you know. You guys take care. Be well.